She's the small screen bruiser
I am demon kick-ass chick.
who packs a powerful punch.
We butted heads a bit, Shannen and I.
Shannen Doherty is always ready to rumble.
She's the Dirty Harry of Hollywood.
Still, Hollywood's wild child wasn't always this feisty.
I'm a good Southern girl, and you don't say those things when you're from the South.
Doherty blew audiences away on 90210
She's a tornado, man. She's wild.
and cast her spell on Charmed.
I get to kick the most amount of warlock and demon butt.
But Shannon's wild exploits made her a tabloid heavyweight.
It was one tumultuous relationship after another.
The cast said, we don't want to work with her anymore.
She's a train wreck you can't stop watching.
For the next hour, the gloves will come off, and we'll go inside the ring with TV's notorious bad girl.
She's a survivor. She's proved that she's here to stay.
This is the story of Shannen Doherty, the true Hollywood story.
Oh my God, people are gonna watch this and just be like, she's really out of her mind. She's a psycho.
The dream of being one for life's ambition was to be a star. Recovered from the public scandal.
Shannen Doherty wasn't always so quick-tempered and confrontational, but that mischievous sparkle in her eyes was a trademark from the beginning. On April 12, 1971, Tom and Rosa Doherty welcomed Shannen Maria to their middle-class home.
Shannen Doherty was born to a Southern Baptist family in Memphis, Tennessee, and by the time she was 10 years old, she was already in commercials.
The family later relocated to posh Palos Verdes, south of Los Angeles, where Shannen joined a children's theater company. A talent agent took notice and introduced her to a television star with serious clout.
Michael Landon kind of discovered Shannen Doherty. He was her mentor, and he looked out for her. She looked up to him.
Michael Landon was a great father figure to young actresses because he had worked with so many of them on Little House on the Prairie. So when Shannen Doherty came along, he really took to her.
Landon cast Shannen as Jenny Wilder in the NBC series Little House, A New Beginning.
I was a fan of Little House myself, so that was like, okay, cool. You know, I get to work on Little House. I was 10 years old. It was a lot of fun. I loved Michael Landon.
Landon took Doherty under his wing with these words: always stick up for yourself. Never let anybody walk all over you. Be a strong woman. Little House closed its doors in 1984, but Landon's advice stuck with Shannen, especially when her dad experienced a spell of bad luck.
Shannen Doherty's father used to own a trucking company, but when the company went bust, he suffered a stroke.
Basically, Shannen assumed the role of breadwinner for her family at a very young age, bringing in a lot of the money for the family.
While Tom Doherty slowly recovered, Shannen guest starred on several TV dramas. Then in 1985, the 14-year-old actress won a choice part in the movie Girls Just Want to Have Fun, starring Sarah Jessica Parker and Helen Hunt. Alan Metter directed the film.
She just had a funky, kind of willful quality that looked like it would make it easy for her to play this role. Shannen knew how to hit a mark. She knew to be on time on the set. She'd been around sets before. She wasn't intimidated by it.
High school, however, was another matter.
You had all these different cliques, and thank goodness that I was an actress because I put on a different front for each group. Needless to say, I got so sick of it that I called my agent and I went, get me a job, I want out. And I got the job that day.
That job was on the NBC series Our House. Soap star Deidre Hall played Shannen's mother.
Our House was a story of a widow and her children who had come upon hard times and had to move in with her father-in-law.
Shannen played a wholesome, naive character. The role was a stretch.
I can remember having Shannen come on set made up and them saying, no, back to the makeup room, take some of that gloss off. So I think that was probably always a challenge for her because she had outgrown that young girl, sort of unmade up, innocent stage in her life and was having to go back and live it again on the show.
Our House lasted 2 seasons, but Doherty had no trouble finding work. In the spring of 1988, Shannen won a supporting role in the film Heathers. The black comedy starred Christian Slater and Winona Ryder.
If there is such a thing, a comedy about teen suicide, it's definitely Heathers. It was very different coming from a series where I played the girl next door.
Doherty's character, Heather Duke, was one of 3 ruthless teenagers who shared the same first name.
They are supposed to be the most beautiful girls in the school, the most popular, and also, excuse my language, the bitchiest as well.
Shannen made a perfect Heather because she played the elitist, snobby, beautiful, popular girl perfectly.
I turned into the character, which I guess is not the best thing. Nobody liked me out of my parents, my family. They were just, get away from us. You've turned into Heather Duke. When I got the film, then I turned into myself, thank God.
Heathers hit theaters in the spring of 1989 and quickly gained a cult following. The buzz reached veteran TV producer Aaron Spelling, who was auditioning actors for a new series.
We went through horror on casting. It took us weeks and weeks and weeks to cast. I was so depressed, I came home and I was venting my frustration, and Tori said, gee, I saw Heather's. There's that Shannen Doherty who was great in Dad. You should see her.
The series was Beverly Hills 90210, and in February 1990, 19-year-old Shannen landed the part of Brenda Walsh. The cast included several unknown actors, including Spelling's daughter Tori, Jenny Garth, Ian Ziering, Luke Perry, and Jason Priestley.
Now, Luke,
We're blessed to have some very pretty girls on our show so far, haven't we?
yes, we have. And Luke has all the subtlety of a sledgehammer.
The cast bonded immediately.
We're very connected, personally and professionally. We tease each other, we do things together, we go to parties together. We're very close with each other.
When you have a group of people that work together every day, you really become like a big family.
Coming up, Shannen revealed.
Certain members of the crew were making money off of selling stories to the tabloids.
And later,
Miss Doherty vehemently denies that she was driving under the influence.
On October 4th, 1990, Beverly Hills 90210 premiered on the fledgling Fox network. The series clicked immediately with teen audiences. And so did the hot young cast. 19-year-old Shannen Doherty was center stage.
Their sorority was 90210. You know, this was their clique, their time to just party and be crazy, and cameras are following them nonstop.
Shannen Doherty was a magnet for enterprising photographers, and she knew it. When Shannen left an LA night spot with Tori Spelling, they were immediately surrounded.
Those tabloids, just don't believe them. They're nasty.
90210 quickly became the most famous zip code in the country.
We're like the little show that all of a sudden became really hot, so we're still not quite used to it yet.
There's people who follow me to the bathroom, stand outside the stalls, wanting to do autographs.
It was very, very strange. I'd never been through anything like that before, and I don't think any of us had.
On one hand, it's flattering to get all that attention, but it can be damn scary to have a whole mob of people coming after you.
Scary? Maybe. But Shannen couldn't get enough, off-screen and on.
Shannen, I think, was happiest when every story was either going to be about Brandon and Brenda.
The early episodes focused on Brandon and Brenda Walsh, these kids from Minneapolis that all of a sudden are in this very opulent, bizarre world that is Beverly Hills.
Beverly Hills 90210 is not a high school show. We are not talking about a high school experience at all.
Okay, so
this is the Walsh family period.
Once our show morphed into an ensemble show and other people were getting the attention, I think she had some problems with that.
Doherty acted up and spoke out, especially about the storylines.
Shannen is a very outspoken, she's not afraid to voice her opinions, and she's not afraid to say no.
Probably the biggest battle that we got in is when Brenda lost her virginity.
Luke and I are pushing the sex issue. We're sort of wanting it to come very fast, but oh, that didn't sound very good.
In the spring of 1991, Beverly Hills 90210 wrapped season 1. Fox execs knew they had a hit on their hands and gave the green light for another season. But for Shannen Doherty, the celebration was cut painfully short. For 3 months, Shannen's friend Michael Landon fought pancreatic cancer. On July 1st, 1991, he lost his battle.
On the day that he died, she went in and, closed the door and just cried and cried and cried. He was much more than, the star of a show to her. He was her father, mentor, acting coach, and role model. And when he died, she felt bereft and lost.
Doherty had little time to grieve. That same month, shooting began on the second season of 90210. The pressure was intense. Shannen found herself at odds with the rest of the cast.
We butted heads a bit, Shannen and I. We were so young and stupid and caught up in trying to one-up each other, and we just sort of started having problems.
People would get catty, you know, and jealous, and why am I excluded from this conversation?
One day we'd fight, the next day we'd be fine, you know, and it's unavoidable when you're with people that closely.
They were all very young, and relationships with young women tend to be that two of them gang up on the other one and vice versa.
And when the tabloids got a hold of that, they had a field day.
Shannen fueled the fire with non-stop partying.
Being somebody who had worked their whole life, supported their family, and now was just turning 20 in young Hollywood with a lot of money and sexual freedom and certainly choices that were in our drug-oriented society, and she fell prey to a lot of that stuff.
There just came a period of time at 90210 when she was out clubbing at night, when she was chronically late.
When you don't get enough sleep, you're cranky and irritable. So these things started spilling over into the workplace.
Shannen's exploits couldn't stop the 90210 juggernaut. Meanwhile, Shannen met Chris Fufus, a 24-year-old real estate developer from Chicago.
She was very happy with Chris, and she was excited about it, and she felt like she was in love.
In the fall of 1991, the couple became engaged. But 20-year-old Shannen was not ready to settle down, and the press fed on her wild behavior.
We do know that on 90210, during the time that there was a lot of coverage in the tabloids, that we had people in our own crew calling the tabloids and feeding them information.
It's horrible. It makes you really feel violated. You know, you start to not trust anybody anymore.
You know, as far as I'm concerned, whatever they write, it's consisted of so many different lies that it's not even worth justifying it. So no, I mean, I care not to comment on it at all.
Still, the wounds from the media attacks cut deep.
The media can definitely make you or destroy you. I don't know why it happens like it happens, but one minute they sort of elevate you to this greatness just so they can tear you down.
She was bratty, and I think it came from pressure.
The name Shannen Doherty became synonymous with spoiled celebrity, while the lines blurred between Shannen and her feisty TV persona.
When Brenda experiences something, Shannen experiences something, because I get very wrapped up in my characters.
What we were watching is this really adorable girl and a very good actress starting to spin out of control.
Fans and critics alike were obsessed with Shannen's personal life. She even inspired a popular underground newsletter called I Hate Brenda.
Shannen Doherty had a problem with it because people confused her character on the show with who she really was.
The reason why this newsletter created so much heat is that Shannen was becoming the celebrity punching bag.
Coming up, round one.
There was a lot of scratching, and it was the classic cat fight.
By 1992, Shannen Doherty developed quite a reputation. Teen queen, rebel, party girl, and bully. Tabloid reporters couldn't ask for more, and they couldn't get enough.
When you become very famous at this age and your show is so doggone hot, you have to be careful what you do.
Season 2 of 90210 wrapped in the spring of 1992. 21-year-old Shannen Doherty immediately left for San Diego to work on another project.
When Shannen was filming a TV movie called Obsessed in 1992, she actually became head over heels for Pearl Jam's Eddie Vedder. The two of them were staying in the same hotel.
Doherty was engaged at the time, but that didn't stop her from trying to meet Pearl Jam's frontman. She struck out. Shannen also struggled with her bank book. Despite a salary reportedly topping $17,000 a week, Doherty was close to 32 grand in the hole.
California United Bank sued her for writing bad checks.
She wrote a few checks, and the funds were not there, and the bank just wanted its money back.
They garnished wages from the show Beverly Hills 90210, and they also repossessed 2 of her Mercedes.
Was she writing bad checks because she wanted to pull a scam, or was she just a busy teen actress who wasn't as familiar with how to handle her finances?
Within this business, it's easy for people to lose a little bit of touch with reality because there's there's always someone around who will do everything for you.
More trouble. In June 1992, fiancé Chris Fufus became fed up with Shannon's hijinks.
He thought she was cheating on him, and he broke up with her and wanted his 6-carat diamond engagement ring back.
Shannon returned the ring and quickly found a way to bail herself out of debt.
The band Slaughter was really into Shannon and decided that they wanted her for their video. When they approached her, she wanted $50,000, which is, you know, unheard of. So she finally negotiated at $20,000.
Shannon seems to always have had some kind of sort of groupie gene. She's obviously very interested in Eddie Vedder and Pearl Jam, so working with Slaughter was maybe the second or third best thing.
Shannon was not one to settle for second best. She wanted Eddie Vedder, and Doherty tried again to meet the grunge heartthrob backstage when the Lollapalooza tour hit L.A.
Shannon seems to be obsessed with Eddie Vedder, and she felt that she could use her celebrity to get special access.
She said, "Don't you know who I am? I'm Shannen Doherty. Of course Eddie Vedder will see me." But he didn't want to.
She sticks to it, whether you like it or not. Love her or hate her, she is her own woman, definitely.
Shannon's independent spirit wreaked havoc at the Emmy Awards in August 1992. During rehearsal, Doherty refused to appear as a presenter with her 90210 co-star Jenny Garth. Rumors swirled that Doherty was livid because Garth got to speak first.
She said publicly, though, the reason she didn't show up was because the other castmates weren't invited.
My representatives, along with the advice of one of my producers, informed me that they just didn't think that I should be a part of it.
Doherty was willing to be a presenter at the 1992 MTV Video Music Awards. She invited Eddie Vedder as her date. Vedder said no. Undaunted, Shannon soon connected with someone who did give a damn. 28-year-old Dean Factor, heir to the Max Factor cosmetics fortune.
Shannon had a really intense relationship with Dean Factor. They were both very much in love with each other.
But there was always room for some hell-raising. On December 2nd, 1992, Shannon was spotted whooping it up at an LA hotspot.
The night at the Roxbury really made Shannen Doherty into a huge celebrity, because here was this sweet girl, Brenda, from 90210, every kid's favorite show, out at a racy nightclub on Sunset Boulevard.
According to Doherty, one of her friends accidentally stepped on the foot of movie producer George Jackson. A shoving match ensued between Doherty and Jackson's girlfriend, an aspiring actress named Bonita Money.
When she draws the line in the sand, if another person decides to step over that, Shannon's, you know, she's a tornado, man. She's wild.
I think the affair with Bonita was the classic cat fight.
It was great, seedy news information. It was like something from the old days of Hollywood, where these glamorous stars would throw tantrums.
There was a lot of scratching, and no one knows who won, but I think it was the first sort of public fight that Shannon had.
The two women were arrested and issued citations for misdemeanor battery. Their arraignment was set for the end of that month.
Media is what informs the public of what's going on. And the problem with me was very irresponsible journalism, not getting the facts straight, not printing the truth, judging something, and they're not supposed to judge.
I think Shannon took it very hard because it made her look like she was out of control, like there was something wrong with her.
I find a woman that took a situation and ran with it to get publicity, and the truth will be told in court.
In the court of public opinion, however, Shannon was already guilty as charged. When the actress appeared on stage at the Billboard Music Awards 1 week later, the audience booed loudly.
Well, after the night of the Roxbury, there was no turning back for Shannen Doherty. She had been branded the bad girl.
Meanwhile, in Beverly Hills, Doherty and Money had their day in court. But the hearing officer received conflicting accounts of the alleged brawl.
After hearing all of the facts and the evidence, Ms. Mills made a determination that there will be no criminal prosecution by the Los Angeles County District Attorney's Office of either Ms. Doherty or Ms. Money.
I'm very happy that this is over. It's taken a lot of my time, and it's, you know, been a humiliating experience.
The fallout was more than humiliating. Shannon was abruptly dropped as spokesperson for Gitano Jeans.
I don't think they wanted to be associated with someone who had a tendency to get involved in fights. It's not good for the endorsement deals.
Not good for advertisers, maybe. But the hype didn't hurt the ratings for 90210.
I don't think it was such a bad thing for her, because it made her more intriguing. It made her like sort of a spicy, you know, take no prisoners type of a girl.
Coming up, round 2.
And we're talking tumultuous, fist fighting, screaming, cops being called.
In 1993, Shannen Doherty was only 21 years old, yet she was fast becoming a candidate for the Tabloid Hall of Fame. That spring, Shannen struck again. The target, boyfriend Dean Factor.
He was very afraid for his life with this girl who he had once been so serious about. They had talked marriage.
According to court documents, Dean Factor said that on March 10, 1993, Doherty attacked him, hitting, kicking, and scratching. Factor also alleged that following the attack, Shannen recklessly drove him home at dangerous speeds. Doherty claimed that Factor had punched and slapped her.
Shannen being Shannen creates a lot of drama when there doesn't need to be.
I think the Dean Factor relationship was kind of the essence of her spinning out of control.
2 weeks later, Doherty was in more hot water. Shannen's landlord filed a lawsuit claiming she owed him more than $100,000 for damages to her apartment unit. He also demanded $14,000 in back rent.
Shannen's not the kind of girl who's going to sit home and go over her books with her accountant or pay her rent on time. I mean, she was a teen star, and no one was giving her a break.
I think she's just got her own internal barometer for what's acceptable and what isn't, and I think that's why people love her.
The matter was settled privately. Meanwhile, Shannen mended her relationship with boyfriend Dean Factor and moved in.
There was a lot of passion involved. They were very young. Of course, things are going to get a little crazy.
In April 1993, the couple went on a Hawaiian vacation to celebrate Shannen's 22nd birthday. Factor proposed, and Shannen accepted. Doherty returned to Los Angeles with an engagement ring and a black eye.
She said it was a result of a surfboard hitting her in the face. He said they had a fight, that she was kicking him, and that he pushed her off and she fell and hit a doorstep.
Shannen is a really tempestuous person. She's very passionate. She's angry, she shows it.
In his declaration to the court, Factor conceded that he threw Doherty into a pool, smacked her in the back of her head with his hand, and tossed some ice from his glass in her direction. Factor claimed he acted in self-defense. Shannen insisted that he was the aggressor.
And there were all these accusations back and forth. It was probably the worst and most public of her bad behavior.
Most public, but not the end. Though engaged to Dean Factor, Shannen reportedly began cavorting with 33-year-old former Brat Packer Judd Nelson. The two met on the set of the thriller Blindfold, Acts of Obsession.
They were playing steamy lovers, and they got steamy in real life.
That was a short but very passionate affair. And he got kind of wild, with her. He sort of drank and hung out with her and played the game.
Shannen kept the affair under wraps while she continued to live with her fiancé. But the battle lines were drawn.
After one particular fight that Shannen had with Dean, she moved out, but then she returned to the house and he filed a complaint with the LAPD.
We're talking tumultuous, fist fighting, screaming, cops being called to Shannen Doherty's house.
He was more bruised than she was. There were black eyes and punched arms, and it wasn't pretty.
As the cops took photos of Factor's injuries, Shannen left town with Judd Nelson. At a Dallas nightclub, the two stumbled into their own police encounter. Nelson was confronted by a heckler, and the hostility quickly escalated. During the ruckus, Judd accidentally kicked a female bystander in the nose. Nelson was arrested and later sentenced to 2 years probation. Shannen's reputation also took another hit.
Shannen Doherty was, like bad girl number one for a period of time. This was right in the middle of it.
But Shannen's troubles were far from over. Just days after the Dallas debacle, Dean Factor petitioned the Superior Court of California for a restraining order against Doherty.
He genuinely felt scared of her. This girl is 98 pounds, I think, a little over 5 feet, thin little thing.
He claimed that she pointed a gun at him, tried to run him down with a car, had hired thugs to beat him, had broken down his bedroom door with a ski boot, and had stolen his bank and tax records.
Doherty denied the charges, outraged that she had gone from being the victim to the accused.
Dean just could set her off and make her very unhappy.
Probably saved their lives. Sanity intervened, and they parted ways.
Soon after that, they had a talk and they sorted things out, and he dropped the restraining order.
But the damage was already done.
This was wild stuff, and it certainly wasn't Brenda. And it wasn't very good PR for 90210.
We had so much media attention. It was only a matter of time before there was sort of a media backlash to the show.
Coming up, Shannen gets hitched in a hurry.
2 weeks after they began dating, he married her in her backyard.
On July 7, 1993, the kids of Beverly Hills 90210 headed back to school for their senior year. But the class delinquent Shannen Doherty was dangerously close to being expelled.
Shannen started becoming more and more isolated from the rest of the crew. They weren't even speaking to her at one point.
Doherty not only went head-to-head with her 90210 co-stars, boyfriend Judd Nelson also became a frequent sparring partner.
That relationship was a little too volatile for both parties.
In September, the couple called it quits.
Shannen and Judd broke up because she thought he was cheating on her. She drove to his Hollywood home thinking that she would find another woman there. Then she took up with his good friend, Ashley Hamilton.
Ashley Hamilton is the son of George Hamilton, the guy who's always tan, and his mother is Alana Stewart. And he came out to be this incredibly good-looking kid of Hollywood, kind of jaded and edgy in a cool way.
Hamilton was a bona fide bad boy. At age 19, he was already a fixture on the young Hollywood party scene. Ashley ended up in a drug rehab program and met 22-year-old Shannen just days after his release.
Ashley Hamilton did not court Shannen Doherty for a very long time. 2 weeks after they began dating, he married her in her backyard.
Shannen Doherty is getting married tonight. Thank you.
It all came together very last minute, and there were these secret invitations went out to certain people. You know, certain members of our crew got invited, and you know, a lot of us didn't, and it's all very hush-hush and very she-she.
Shannen was barefoot in like a slip dress, and it was just very like sort of spur of the moment.
They didn't know much about each other. I don't even think they knew each other's middle names.
To even the most casual observer, Doherty was a loose cannon, and her erratic behavior affected life on the 90210 set as well.
She didn't show up on time. There were just lots of problems. She was never memorized. She would get sick. Get sick because she wasn't taking care of herself.
She wouldn't speak to anyone else, and they wouldn't speak to her. And they would do things like talk about going somewhere later and not invite her.
The tension with Shannen finally reached a breaking point.
There did come a time where I think that it was just starting to affect too many other people's schedules and too many other aspects of our daily jobs.
The real nail in her coffin was when the cast had enough and basically said, we're not going to have as many late calls, we're not going to do this, we don't want to work with her anymore.
Someone had to do something about it, and of course we left that to Mr. Spelling, and what he decided to do was to let Shannen go from the show.
On December 16th, Spelling Entertainment announced that Doherty's contract for 90210 would not be renewed for a 5th season.
I think that really she was sad about it. She covered it up well, but I think that, yeah, I think she was sad about it.
Shannen's quickie marriage to Ashley Hamilton was also on the rocks.
It was just one of these whirlwind relationship that was on and then off again, you know, up like a rocket and then out like a light.
Shannen and Ashley, not surprisingly, split. And according to reports, it was because Ashley saw a picture of her hugging nightclub owner Randy Gerber and that it caused a fistfight on New Year's Eve.
In March 1994, after 6 months of marriage, the newlyweds officially separated and Hamilton moved out.
It was one tumultuous relationship after another. You want someone to step in and say, this girl needs help.
Shannen shed her husband, then shed her clothes for a nude photo spread.
The public was shocked to see Shannen Doherty on the cover of Playboy. There was a side to her that enjoyed being sexier, that enjoyed sort of being the bad girl who was going to make Aaron Spelling angry. I mean, this girl is fearless. And by doing the cover of Playboy, it showed that she didn't lead her life by fear.
That's an understatement. Soon, Doherty was back playing the field.
Right after Shannen and Ashley split, she started dating amongst friends director Rob Weiss.
Rob Weiss, was doing pretty well in Hollywood. I think that they related to each other a little better. He was a bad boy, and he did know about, the street life. He did know about gangs, and I think she found that very attractive.
Meanwhile, Shannen bid farewell to Brenda Walsh and her Beverly Hills cohorts. Doherty's final episode of 90210 aired on May 24th, 1994.
All of a sudden we had to get rid of her, and we had to write her out, and so I guess perversely we kind of sent her off to England, and the joke was to acting school.
When Shannen left the show, there were several people that were happier.
Brenda Walsh went packing. Shannen did the same.
After 90210, I went off to Europe and traveled around Europe for a month, and got to do my own thing for a while.
She was out of the limelight. She burned some bridges, and she needed to take some time out.
Then, 9 months later, Doherty got an offer she couldn't refuse. Shannen took a supporting role in the comedy Mallrats, her first feature in 6 years.
It was a Kevin Smith film. He was a really smart indie director who had done Clerks before that, gotten a lot of notoriety for that. And they thought that this would be his big Hollywood film.
The fact that Kevin Smith, who was the director of Sudden Reputation, had hired her was a big moment for her.
Everyone was like, well, she, her reputation, she's late, she doesn't show up. She comes with a lot of baggage, you better be prepared. And my point was always like, look, as long as she does her dialogue right and hits her marks and stuff, she can burn down the hotel for all I care, after we're done shooting. But she didn't. The hotel was all in one piece when we left.
Yeah, we hated each other. No, you won't be hearing any nightmare stories from Mallrats.
Still, co-star Jeremy London had concerns about working opposite Hollywood's reigning wild child.
I knew her. So I knew she wasn't as badass as everybody else thought she was. I was more, I think, worried about her stigma because everybody else hated her. And so are people gonna not go see my movie because Shannen Doherty's in it? Probably.
On October 20th, 1995, Mallrats landed in theaters with a resounding thud.
It was a big loss for the studio, and everyone thought, oh, well, if Mallrats didn't do well, then Shannen Doherty's not a film star, and she doesn't belong in this world, and she needs to go back to television.
Coming up, Shannen conjures up the perfect role.
I know, which is Shannen Doherty, which I got it.
One divorce, 2 broken engagements, several high-profile splits. Shannen Doherty's track record with men was something of a train wreck. Still, that didn't stop Shannen from contemplating a second stroll down the aisle.
She was wondering, is this the love of my life? Is this someone I can be with?
In December 1995, Doherty announced her engagement to director Rob Weiss. But just 6 months later, Shannen's love life hit the skids again.
They were engaged and then they weren't engaged. They were on and off more than Oprah's refrigerator light.
Finally, Weiss and Doherty said goodbye for good.
It's been hard for her. She's been engaged a lot. But, I mean, you look at any Hollywood star, and she is a huge celebrity, and they don't really stick with one person for long. It's just the nature of the town.
By August 1996, 25-year-old Shannen was back on the party scene and back in the news. Doherty was hanging out at LA's Formosa Cafe when she got into an argument with another patron, 22-year-old college student Corey Hanker. According to what Hanker told police, he split, but the incident only escalated.
The bouncer told Shannen, you need to go, you need to settle down, you need to leave. Well, that just made her madder. She went and got a beer bottle. She went out to the parking lot.
Doherty allegedly found Hanker in his car and smashed the beer bottle against his window. The police were called and Shannen was charged with assault with a deadly weapon. Doherty eventually pleaded no contest to a lesser vandalism charge. She was placed on probation and fined $5,400. The judge also ordered the former 90210 star back to class.
She was sent to anger management courses, and it was something that was becoming a new trend in Hollywood.
Between 1995 and 1997, Shannen concentrated on her career and kept her temper in check.
After 90210, I'd taken projects that I handpicked, and they were projects that struck a chord within me personally and that I felt would be a challenge as an actor.
The projects included TV movies Friends Till the End and Sleeping with the Devil.
It sort of opened her up for bigger things. It actually wasn't a bad move at all. The Hollywood did come and knock it.
And Shannen answered.
My agent called me and said, there's a TV show called Charmed. So I read the script,
And then he told me it was Aaron Spelling. I was like, okay, wait, I haven't spoken to Aaron since 90210. Like, we really need to, you know, have some communication going first. So we did, and it was like, you know, I walked into his office and he grabbed me and hugged me and said, welcome back, kiddo, and that was it, and I signed on.
Hollywood was really cynical, and I think they thought, oh, Aaron Spelling and Shannen Doherty again, we all know how this is going to end up. Is she really worth it? But then I think after they saw the pilot, they realized it was very clever.
Doherty played Prue, one of 3 modern-day witches with supernatural talents.
The show is about how they have these special powers, and how they're going to sort of learn about those powers and how they're going to deal with them and make sure that they're used for good.
Shannon's younger sisters and fellow witches were played by Holly Marie Combs and Alyssa Milano.
I just think the chemistry is so dead on that we got really lucky. And personally, I feel like, you know, I never had sisters, and the 2 of them fit the bill perfectly.
On October 7, 1998, Charmed debuted on the WB network, and audiences across America were bewitched. Shannen Doherty had another hit.
It brought her back to television, brought her back to kind of respectability, and began to erase, you know, the bad girl legacy that she left behind.
It went off with a bang, and the WB was very pleased with the series.
But trouble was soon brewing behind the scenes. By the time season 2 rolled around, Doherty made some new enemies.
Shannen fairly quickly alienated her colleagues, particularly Alyssa Milano.
It's the time when Alyssa Milano began showing up on the covers of FHM and Maxim, and Shannen wasn't. And that had to be hard, because Shannen once was that girl that was so popular.
As Charmed entered its 3rd season, the show continued to score big numbers. But Doherty insisted on casting a different kind of spell.
Basically, Shannen went to the producers and laid down the law and said things had to change, that she wasn't happy.
Shannen asked to be released from her contract. Studio execs said no. Shannon's agreement was ironclad, much like the Ventura County jail cell she found herself in on December 28, 2000. At 3 a.m. that morning, a CHP officer noticed Doherty's black Ford pickup weaving across lanes on the 101 freeway in Ventura. Doherty was pulled over.
A sheriff at the Ventura County Sheriff's Department said, oh, she's a real handful.
Shannen was arrested after a non-consensual blood test revealed that her blood alcohol level was 0.13%, well over the legal limit.
Ms. Doherty vehemently denies that she was driving under the influence.
Doherty was arraigned on April 29, 2001.
Shannen pled no contest to drunk driving, and as a result, she had to go on speaking engagements in which she would speak to teens about the evils of drunk driving. She also had to pay a $1,500 fine and was given 3 years probation.
Getting a DUI, I mean, it's the worst thing that could happen to you. It's embarrassing.
But Doherty wasn't out of the headline jungle yet. That spring, the producers of Charmed reached a crossroads with 2 of their stars.
Apparently, Alyssa would have to go for Shannen to stay, and it didn't work out that way.
At the time, Alyssa Milano, much more popular, and it was bye-bye Shannen.
On May 17, 2001, Shannen stepped out of the Spelling coven and into the very mortal world of the unemployed. Coming up, Shannen gets downright scary. In 2001, after magically disappearing from the hit TV show Charmed, 30-year-old Shannen Doherty found herself without a steady paycheck. Shannen turned her attention to, what else? Matters of the heart.
Shannen, I think, was craving some sort of stability in her life.
In early 2002, Shannen fell hard for an internet gambling mogul and former boxer.
She met Rick Solomon. They clicked instantly. She felt like this was the man for her. And within a couple of months, they were married.
But true to form, Shannon's romance was over before it ever really got started. Solomon was a free spirit with plenty of cash to play.
There would be days when she wouldn't hear from him. He would just disappear, and she was wondering what was going on with her husband.
Shannen and Solomon had their marriage annulled in 2003, 9 months after they wed. Shannen jumped back into television. producers Scott Halleck and Kevin Healy signed Doherty to host Scare Tactics, a hidden camera reality show on the Sci-Fi Channel.
We needed someone that could cleanly explain the scenario and just let it play. And we wanted to do that with the right person. And Shannen Doherty came up in discussions so early on. She's hot. There's that. No. But also, she has this, as we've now found out, misconstrued bad girl attitude, which she loves to play with.
Make your phone call.
Didn't see anything. We know where you live. The critics are split on Scare Tactics, but everyone seems to love her.
But no matter how hard Shannen tried to keep her nose clean, she just couldn't resist a good fight.
The thing about Shannen is she just doesn't stop making great tabloid copy.
On March 12, 2003, Doherty squared off with 22-year-old socialite Paris Hilton at a Hollywood club.
Paris Hilton's publicist released a statement saying that the fight was physical, that Shannen was jealous, that Paris had recently spoken to Rick Solomon.
Shannen used to be married to him, and Paris used to date him years ago.
Paris said Shannen got in her face, and that later threw eggs at a car that was parked outside the house and wrote in lipstick on the car, which Shannen adamantly denies through her publicist. So you've got she said, she said.
Maybe something nasty was said, but I think the tabloids made a bigger deal about it than really it needed to be.
In December 2003, Shannen appeared in her second cover spread for Playboy magazine. Then, in the summer of 2004, she left Scare Tactics and joined the primetime soap North Shore midway through its first season. Producers hoped Shannen would jumpstart poor ratings, but North Shore wrapped production after 20 episodes. Shannen Doherty has survived scathing criticism, volatile relationships, and more drama than most TV soaps. But somehow the small-screen diva always manages to bounce back. Still, the question remains, will the tabloid darling ever be able to shed her bad girl reputation?
She has matured and grown up, which is what happened to all of us.
I believe people will forget about those days and respect her work that she's doing now.
And what about the future?
She was right.
Stay tuned.
I have nothing but really kind of fond memories of Shannen. Through all that really chaotic time, we just did good work together, and that was really what it was all about.
As an actress, sky's the limit. She's certainly got the talent that if the right vehicles keep coming along for her, she's going to be around a long time.
I think she has a great sense of humor that hasn't been tapped.
She'll succeed. She'll keep on going. She'll do whatever she wants. And I think she'll always be welcome.
She's a survivor. She's proved that she's here to stay.
If you have perseverance and you're good at what you do and you're dedicated to it, then you're going to get through anything.
There is no better way to show a friend or family member that you care than to just shock the hell out of them. What makes you feel all warm and fuzzy inside, huh?
This is my show, and I love getting involved. I mean, really involved.